Hello out there to anyone who gives a shit about the new work rules. It's me, Tyler Russo. It's 3:55 p.m. and I'm still finishing my coffee. It's partially because I woke up around noon. Anyways, yeah, who likes list building? I like list building. You clicked on this video, so you probably do too. Let's just get into it. So there's a lot of exciting stuff in the new Ork Codex. I did a little video about it yesterday, and anyone who makes content for 40k is seemingly making their own videos right now. But surprisingly, one thing I haven't seen that much yet is people building actual lists, and I wanted to take this opportunity to make a bunch of them that probably aren't particularly good. I think they're all like sketching out what could be good competitive builds in the future, or something resembling that. If not, like, we're not shooting for S tier here. We're shooting for like the fun, gimmicky, win your local RTT level lists. And I don't think any of them are quite there yet, but I think they're all like good starts and sketches that could be flushed out to something pretty sick later. But it's going to take a lot of playtesting and responses to what other people are bringing. And I mean, yeah, we don't even know. Like, I think the biggest thing that would change these is like if orcs have just like an insane secondary option that we don't know about yet, because out of all the rules previews, it's something we haven't seen. And if there's like a Stubborn Defiance type build, Stubborn Defiance is the Dark Angels secondary. You have to choose an objective and just like squat on it the entire game. That could drastically change how you want to play orcs and builds in general. But like just going off of the knowledge that we have, here's some lists that I think would be pretty fun to play and use as starting points to grow. So without further ado, I made 5 lists, each for a different clan culture. Let's start with Blood Axes, because that's the tab I have open currently. So the Blood Axe list consists of a Deathkill Wartrike with Roadkill, which is a thing where on a 2-up he does D3 mortal wounds. Big Mac with the KFF, Weird Boy, 10 grots, 10 grots, 10 grots, a big commando squad for doing offensive stuff, and these two are just basically here for scoring secondaries, whether it's raising banners or just hanging out in the table corner and trying not to die. 3 scrap jets, 2 knobs and smash squigs, 2 squads of Squig Hound boys, a Bone Breaker with the Red Rolla, and a Gorkana with Big Krumpa, which is a new specialist thing. I think they're one of the like less competitive ones. Yeah, I'm honestly, I don't know. I like Blood Axes a lot thematically, like lore-wise, they're one of the cooler ones, and I think there's like probably, again, like a much higher ceiling for how competitive they can be compared to this, but I think this is something that is like relatively thematic and has some fun ideas in it, and the basis of this idea, which I want to like again explore further in the future, is just spamming mortal wounds and like the ability to fall back and charge. Also, the redeploy warlord trait they have is super good. Dead Sneaky, which I can find somewhere in these tabs. Oh wait, no, Dead Sneaky, Dead Sneaky is the stratagem, my bad. There's a warlord trait that allows you to redeploy 3 Blood Axe units at the end of the deploy step. I thought it was like before the first battle round, but like after you know who goes first, which would have been insane. The plan for that initially, I don't think it works this way, unfortunately, but if I'm somehow wrong, then just take like 45 commandos, just put them like right at the edge of your opponent's deployment zone, as close as they can get, and just like charge and let your bomb squigs out turn 1. Yeah, it would be very funny and gimmicky, but I think I interpreted that wrong. That's not what they can do. However, it's still a very strong ability, and what I would use it for with this list is just like baiting your opponent into deploying in an unfavorable way. So yeah, Teleporter just lets you keep unit in reserve, right? It's from the current Ork Codex for anyone who's not super familiar with the book. And then Ramming Speeds lets you charge 3d6 inches and do d3 mortal wounds in a 2-up. I think like keeping the Gorkana in reserve is the best route, because he's got 24 wounds now, which means you can't hide him. He's like a knight, so you can never obscure him, and this list like revolves around like kind of trying to hide and be a little cheeky turn 1. You just want to try and deploy in a way where your opponent is maybe like splitting shots, or ideally they just have all their stuff on one side and they're deploying to shoot you, and then you move everything over to the other side of the board at the end of your deployment. And, yeah, then the Gorkana comes on from reserve with Teleporta, charges with ramming speed for that 3d6 inches. I've seen a lot of people complain about the Big Mac with KFF. I don't think this is the list where it shines the most, but I think, yeah, people are like really sleeping on it. I think they're better than they were before. So they used to give a 5-up invuln save to units wholly within 9 inches of them. Now they give a 6-up to units just within 9 inches, period. I mean, I think this is where it really shines, is like huge amounts of boilers, which I'll go over later when we get the Goths. Like, I feel like the KFF usually fell apart turn 2 if then. So like you're building your boy castle very carefully, and then say you get first turn, especially when like with old Evil Sons boys where you just like rush forward, that careful pre-measuring you did to make sure everybody's inside the KFF is usually shattered immediately. Like as soon as they move, it's often hard to still position them in a way where the KFF is keeping up. And yeah, that's no longer the case. Like just go wild and advance your stuff as like pretty far away, and then like a 9-inch bubble from one dude, as long as you can like string a single model back to be within 9 inches of him. That's pretty easy, even with like new coherency rules. I think it's way stronger, and you probably don't need him giving the 5-up for more than like a turn or two. So I mean, 2 CP is expensive, but if you're only using it like turn 1, turn 2 maybe, then yeah, I think like it's gonna see a lot of play, or at least I hope it does. And there's a high ceiling for like new KFF tricks that were not available before. Yeah, if you're disappointed by the 6-up, don't be. It's still a 5-up. It just costs 2 CP now, and otherwise it's better in every way. There's a Death Kill War Trick, which is going to be our Warlord here. He's the Road Killa Warlord trait, which is the one that allows you to do D3 mortal wounds on a 2-up when you charge. And you could combine that with ramming speed if you wanted to. So, like, one of the turns, you can just have the Death Kill War Trick do 2d3 mortal wounds on 2 separate rolls of 2-up. Pretty good. If you wanted, you could also give him, initially in this list, I had the thing where, I forget what it's called, but, like, on a 4-up, when he's targeted, he does D3 mortal wounds back to whatever attacks him. The reason I took it out, it's a custom job, and you can only have 1 custom job per detachment. Oh, I just realized something. Actually, if it's per detachment, hold up. Yeah, so the reason why I took it on initially is because the Gorkana, I wanted to give Big Krumpa, which is the custom job that gives him +1 to hit. Yeah, okay, Shacklehole's the one I wanted to give initially, but I'm just realizing that I think, yeah, I mean, it's hard to parse this stuff together because it's like a broken codex through like a million different Imgur uploads, none of which are fully complete. But if you, yeah, I think you get 1 custom job per detachment, meaning you could give +1 to hit to the Gorkanaut, and then also give Shacklehole to the Death Kill War Trick. I don't think Shacklehole is incredible, but it's very funny. And if you're just trying to do like a mortal wound spam army, I think it's not a bad way to go. We have bomb squigs are super good. I'm a huge fan of them. For anyone who doesn't know, on a 3-up you do D3 mortal wounds to a unit within 12. They're 1 use, and you can only fire 1 per turn. I think it's battle round. I don't think you'd want to use 1 on Overwatch. I don't know if it needs a 3 to hit. If it just connects on a 3-up, then that'd be super good. You can use it for Overwatch, but I don't think that's how it works. You also get +1 to roll against vehicles and probably monsters. Not positive. I'm gonna have to double check that. Yeah, but bomb squigs are great. And with list building in general, in 9th edition, I feel like list building is all about just like trying to prioritize what secondaries you want to take, right, and working backwards from there. For this one, I think like banners is definitely viable. Grots are no longer OBSEC, but they can perform actions. Or to my understanding, they're no longer OBSEC. Again, it's like kind of hard to parse information, but I don't think they have OBSEC anymore. And yeah, they can still perform actions to my understanding, though. It makes sense they would thematically, I think. Yeah, so you could do raise banners. You can scan for Octarius data. It seems pretty good too. Stranglehold's probably not awesome here. But engage is really good. I mean, yeah, you can like split these units up and have like pretty decent board control. Yeah, I don't think engage is bad at all with this army. And then if you wanted to, you could go for While We Stand too with the Bonebreaker, Gorkanaut, and Scrap Jets. I think in most instances you hope there's like a better third secondary. And most of the units you have are going to be, like the Grots are going to be hiding most of the time, right? And then the Commandos are going to be hopefully hiding too. And beyond that, there's not that many units, so I think grind them down could potentially be pretty good. We're just trying to kill more. The Bodebreaker, because its Blood Axes can fall back and charge each turn. It has a red rolla. I think it's D3 plus 3 additional attacks when it charges. And then the Gorkana, so the first time I looked at the Gorkana, I realized I misread what he do. Where is he? Where is he? What he do? Fuck, I just closed the tab. Hold up. Mr. Gorkana, where are you? Yeah, so big and stompy. He can declare charge in a turn in which he falls back, but it doesn't say anywhere that he can still shoot. However, being a Blood Axe, you have the ability to fall back from combat and shoot or charge, but not both. I'm assuming what you could do, I mean, there might be an FAQ that states otherwise, but I don't understand why there would be. You can use Big and Stompy to fall back and declare charge, and then you can use the Blood Axe Clan Culture to be able to fall back and then still shoot. So you can fall back, shoot, and then charge again. It's not gonna reinvent the 9th edition competitive scene, but it's a pretty fun mechanic. And who doesn't love Gorkanauts? They're so sick. There's also the Knobs and oh wait, this is labeled wrong. Hold up. Yeah, so the Knobs and Smashes Squigs. They're a new Beast Snaggy unit. I would have liked to fit 3 of these just because it's funny, but I think including the scrap jets is maybe a better call. I don't know. I just like scrap jets. If you wanted to here, you could also just take a 3rd Knob on Smash a Squig. So I think how it works is you can include a Knob on Smash a Squig for every unit of Squig Hog Boys you have, and it doesn't take up a slot. But I think you can also take one and just have it take up a slot. I don't see anything here that stipulates that you can't. So yeah, you could take 3 Knobs and Smash Squigs and 2 Squig Hog Boy squads, and that would be all your fast attack slots. If anyone playtests these on like TTS or something similar, let me know in the comments how that goes, because I'm curious and probably won't be able to playtest all of them, at least that soon, by myself. The fuck is he? Okay, yeah. Mr. Knob on Smash a Squig. So, yeah, every time he charges, you roll 5d6, and for each 4-up, he inflicts a mortal wound on that unit. So the idea is that you charge them in, they somehow survive, and then they fall back from combat and charge again, and you can just keep doing that. Anyways, that's the Blood Axe list. It's the most gimmicky one here, and I think the only thing that really matters is, like, yeah, think of ways to, like, utilize breaking the fall back and charge mechanic the most. And the redeploy. So, like, tricking your opponent into being baited into deploying a specific way that then you immediately undermine, and then also spamming mortal wounds. Feels like a fun way. It's a life, you know. It's an honest living. Feels like a fun way to be. Just feels so good to see a Bone Break and a Gorkanaut in the same list too. Anyways, moving on from that one, going into Freebootas. One of the coolest things from Freebootas is the Bad Skull Bana, which allows you to turn off OBSEC to a enemy unit within 6 of the bearer. In a list without this one I built, at least doesn't have that much OBSEC. Yeah, it seems pretty solid. I mean, I think it's like worth taking a like Freebootas detachment, perhaps a patrol alongside another force, just for that relic alone. Super strong. I included Badrak because it's Freebootas and he's cool. Why not Badrak? Along with some flash kits, who I think are like greatly improved. I mean, they went down in points. Ammo rents are worse. It's no longer every turn. It's just like once per game you get to reroll. Kind of lame, but not that big of a deal. Let me find their datasheet before I actually talk about them. Yeah, but I think there's a world in which you can just take some flash kits, maybe in a truck, and then like some grots alongside them, or in a battle wagon if you want. But battle wagons are like kind of expensive. I mean, 120 is not so bad. But considering like trucks are actually, maybe, yeah, I don't know, maybe there is a case for battle wagons. Like, you've got 16 wounds and then ramshackle still. I can see, yeah, trying to make room for 10 of these guys in a battle wagon alongside 10 grots, and the grots are just there to absorb wounds from emergency disembarkation. So every time you roll 1, you just kill Grot instead of a flash git. And then also you have a small squad for Grot shielding if the flash gits are targeted after Battle Wagon dies. In this list, I put him in a truck, but I can see a strong case for that too. Battle Wagon's only 50 points more of in a truck, which isn't too crazy. And for that, you get an extra point of toughness, which is mostly going to be irrelevant. T6 versus T7 is not a huge deal typically. But you do get 16 wounds and a 3-up save, which is not bad. One thing I got to figure out is if the Freebootas proc works if something's embarked in a transport or not. Previously, I don't think it did. It seems like something that would have been fixed with this codex, but I haven't been able to figure out. Because, like, yeah, rules is written in, like, the 40k rulebook. Like, modifiers that affect transports affect units inside, too. And one would hope or assume that, yeah, you could have a unit inside of a transport, yeah, and still be able to get the +1 to hit, but I don't know if that's going to be a thing or not yet. This list is built around the premise that it could be, but if not, I mean, you could probably cut... Or let me go over what the list is. So the list is Defco Ortrike with the Bad Skull Bana. It's the turn-off OBSEC thing. Badrek, Big Mech with Shock Attack on, which are way better now. If I hit on 4s and then with Freebootas going down to 3s is like pretty sweet. I would like to find a way to fit 2 of these if I could. Grot's just to fill out a battalion. There's a 13 here, which will be the squad that's used for Grot Shield, just because I had some extra points. 3 Squig Buggies, which are insane. Of course, the worst buggy becomes the best one. I'm sure, like, at least early on, people are going to be, like, spamming the shit out of these. Yeah, like, I wouldn't be surprised a lot of people are, like, building lists of, like, 6 or 9 of them. I think that's a bit much. I think it's going to be hard to hide more than 3. So I think like 3 is enough for me, mostly because I don't want to buy like 9 of them and then realize like later that it's not quite as good as people initially thought, or their points are changed or something. But yeah, I think 3 is fine. And then there's a Kill Rig, which is the big new Beast Naga Battle Wagon type thing. They're super good. I'll go over their profile later. 10 Flash Gits with a Git Find a Squig, because why not? 12 Ludas, and Ludas have to have spanners now. I like the custom Megalostas on them. Yeah, you kill yourself on a 1 to hit, but whatever, it's in Work's life. You can take a big shooter too if you'd rather keep those spanners alive. 2 trucks, 2 Daka Jets with the extra Super Shooters because they're very much worth it. Then a Wazbomb Blast the Jet, which has gotten significantly better in the new codex. Secondaries you could do with this. Wily Stand is not terrible. It's going to be on the Flash Kits and Ludas, which are both protected by trucks. And then you have like some Grots for Grot shielding. And then the Squig Buggies will, if you like are able to put them in a place where they're hidden, be pretty hard to deal for a lot of the game. Yeah, the Kill Rig can go forward and just kind of like attempt to get into melee quickly and be a little bit of a distraction for the trucks. And if your opponent's targeting down the Flash Kits and Ludas, that means the Daka Jets and Wazbomb Blasta are hopefully alive. I mean, they're like big threats who can get you engaged in all fronts too. Again, not a perfect list, but I think a pretty good start. I think in a competitive setting, realistically, you'd probably have to choose between Ludas and Flash Kits, and then get a bunch more Grots for Grot shields. I mean, like, a lot of 40k is just trying to create, like, mental deterrence for people. And I think the threat of, like, say you had, like, a 30-man Grot squad, and you're Grot shielding Flash Kits or Ludas, that's a pretty big deterrent for someone to want to shoot them. And even if they, like, realistically could chew through all that, I feel like a lot of people see the 30 Grots and are just, like, kind of annoyed and don't bother, as long as there's other targets around, which there most likely will be in the form of, like, the Daka Jets and the Wazbomb Blasta. So, yeah, I just think it's like a good like mental game, kind of like the Burnabama was, where you just deal a bunch of more wounds and it forces your opponent to play a certain way. Yeah, I just think like little things like that force your opponent to play different. Yeah, you're just trying to like force someone into a less favorable decision because they're confused how your army works. Let me go over the Daka Jets real quick. Daka Jet data sheet is incomplete. One thing that is missing and very important that it's incomplete is they used to get +1 to hit if all their super shooters target a single unit. If they don't have that anymore, that really sucks, but I think they're still worth taking either way. Even if they're hitting on 5s, just the sheer volume of shots you get is like super good. Oh, weird, this one doesn't even have the super shooter profile. Let me see if I can find it. I think I have it on my phone. Yeah, okay. So the Super Shooters are DACA 6/4 for 36-inch range. So within 18 inches, they're going to get 6 shots each. And DACA jets have 6 of them. So it's 36 shots, strength 6, AP -1/1 damage. And then obviously if you call the Speedwog, then they're going to get an extra point of AP. So, and an extra shot each, which is an easy component to forget of the Speedwog. So it goes to 42 shots, strength 6, AP -2 for an 120 point model. That's -1 to hit. And like, I mean, not that durable, but enough that it takes like a non-zero amount of firepower to kill them. Yeah, pretty strong. And that combined with the Waz bomb, which I wish I could show you, but I don't actually. Yeah, I don't. It's not in this leak for some reason. Yeah, so the Waz bomb has the same defensive profile. T6, 12 wounds, 4 up save. All the planes do, but I upgraded this one to have a force field. For an extra 20 points, and that gives a 5-up invul to aircraft within 9. Well, if the DACA jets, as long as they stay near the Wasbomb, are going to have a 5-up invul and -1 to hit. And the Wasbomb itself has 2 mega cannons, which are D3 shots, blast, strength 10, AP -3, D6 damage. Has a smash gun, which is the new smash gun profile, which is strength 8, AP -4, D6 damage, heavy D3. Then it has a stick bomb flanger, which I've never used once in my life and probably never will. Yeah, Wasbomb seems sick though. And then the Freebootas list giving it +1 to hit, which you will probably find a way to consistently proc most turns of the game. At least a couple of your units seems like super good. Yeah, Ludas not having heavy weapons is a huge deal, which means that you can put them in a truck and it can like skirt around and they won't suffer a penalty for moving and shooting. They also their DACA guns are 2/3, so at worst they're shooting like on average what they got for number of hits previously when it was heavy D3, and then at best you're getting 3 shots. So there's no more like Ludas get a 1 for number of shots. And yeah, you have to take the Spaniards, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's worth a trade-off for no longer having heavy weapons on them. Again, it's kind of hard to predict like what'll be like viable units, but I don't see a world in which like anything in these lists is like god awful. And yeah, like I said earlier, I think you might have to prioritize between, you have to decide between flash kits and Ludas, just because it's hard to protect both. But for this list, I included them, and with 2 transports and some grots, I don't think it's impossible to try and protect both. And I'll go over to kill rig too before I move on. So yeah, these things are fucking nutty. I can see taking 3 becoming a standard in Ork list very quick. I think like 3 kill rigs and then 3 squig buggies is going to be incredibly strong. So their defensive profile is pretty good. 60 wounds, T8, basically a battle wagon, and a 3-up save for 190. And yeah, you could include a Big Mech with KFF, giving them a 5-up. I think it's worth doing in a lot of instances. Yeah, their offensive profile is just so strong, both in shooting and in melee. Or, well, mostly in melee. Another interesting thing is that they're psychers, which means that I think it's gonna, like if you take, like, 3 of them, you're not giving up enough points of Deny the Witch for your opponent to want to take that most of the time. But you are giving yourself access to the ability to potentially take psychic secondaries. Like that and a Weird Boy feel pretty good to me. So yeah, you could take Mental Interrogation if you want to. You could take Warp Ritual even. Yeah, I think like building Ork lists with a Shadow Operatives, whether it's Raise the Banners or Retrieve Loctarius data. And then probably Stranglehold or Engage in All Fronts for Battlefield Supremacy. And then a psychic secondary, or like going for something like Grind Them Down. It's going to be pretty strong ways to engage with them in the new codex. The snagged ability is very cute. You can restrict movement. 12 inches is still a lot of movement, but you can position it so that, like, say the kill rig is like exactly 12 inches from a unit, right? And then you snag them somehow, and then an objective is like 3, or like maybe just like being within 3 inches of an objective takes like 1 more inch away from the kill rig. Suddenly that model's not going anywhere. Theoretically, you could position 2 kill rigs and snag a model to like really restrict its movement or even prevent it from moving. So like say you have 2 kill rigs, they're 24 inches apart and they both snag the same thing in the middle, then it just like can't move anywhere, but it seems like something you should not design a list around, but very funny if it happens. And yeah, they're ramshackle, like a lot of the vehicles are, which is incredibly good. So yeah, I mean, just look at this. This is like a mini custom stomp, but there's just like so many little profiles to go over. So yeah, you're casting spells. It has a 2 psychic powers, which is nuts, and it knows smite and 2 of the beast herd discipline psychic powers. It's a beast naga, so it's getting 1 to hit against vehicles and monsters. Yeah, I'll go over its weapons. So it has 6 attack space, degrades pretty quickly, but the weapon skill never does, which is very important. So even though the strength goes down, I mean, yeah, the Savage Horns and Hooves and Saw Blades are +1, +2, but like, unless you're fighting something T8, I don't think the degrading profile of strength is that big of a deal. So yeah, it's gonna get 4 strength 5 AP -1 attacks. It's gonna get 4 additional strength 7 to start at least, AP -2, flat 3 damage attacks. And then you have the rest of your attacks to go into the Saw Blades, which are gonna be strength 8 to start, AP -2, and 3 damage. Yeah, pretty good. The Stick of Cannon's like kind of cool, but I mean, a 12-inch range and only 1 shot. It's not going to do that much most of the time. The Evilaba, it's just like 48-inch indirect fire, pretty good, especially with the squig buggies. Like, them together works. You're just going to have so much indirect fire. D6 shots, so it's not super reliable, but just for like picking off, like, you know, like MSU kind of like weak chaff units that are sitting on objectives in the back. It'll probably force your opponent to dedicate more of their army than they would like to like holding home field objectives, because if they just have like, you know, like 10 guardsmen or a small 5-man sister squad or whatever, they will probably die due to the buggies and things like Evilaba over the course of the game. They're probably going to have a little bit less like offensive power trying to take down your stuff. You know what, I take back what I said earlier. Their shooting is actually not that good, but the point still stands that their melee is great, and for 190 points, like a pretty durable model that has access to smite and 2 psychic powers and can cast 2 per turn. Yeah, really good, and I think including like 10 Beast Naga boys in it is going to be pretty great too.